Who should decide whether new wind farm developments are given the go-ahead? Well, it's a question that's dividing the main political parties here in East Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. Over the past 3 years, 35 wind farms were approved by local authorities in England and 29 were refused. But almost half of the wind farms that were originally turned down were then later approved by government inspectors. The Conservatives say that local councils should have the final say on where turbines are situated. But the government says any new restrictions would hinder the fight against climate change. More now from our political editor, Tim Iredale.
Are many communities being railroaded into accepting wind farm developments against their wishes? That's the claim from campaigners such as Cherie Blenkin, who's currently fighting proposals for 3 wind farm developments near her home in the East Riding village of Roos.
What you need, to me, is a strategic plan that says this area is right, this area is wrong, let's look at the evidence, and if the East Riding is saying, no, this isn't suitable, no should mean no.
Many campaigners say their voices simply aren't being heard in the corridors of power. Now the Conservatives are proposing that the final decisions on where wind farms are situated should be made here at County Hall rather than Whitehall.
The East Riding has already exceeded its renewable energy targets. It's done its bit, but nonetheless the concerns that residents have and that councillors have are very often overturned by a remote government inspector.
Companies are coming in, they're not really consulting properly, and they're relying on an expensive appeals system. The money's being spent on barristers instead of working closely with communities.
One leading cabinet minister told BBC Look North, we have to look at the bigger picture.
I of course sympathise with local people who worry about wind turbine projects, but what I do say to them is of course there can be objections about the precise siting of wind turbines, but we do need them somewhere, and we need to work with local councils and local people to ensure that we can continue to make progress on our low carbon objectives while being sensitive to local needs.
Green campaigners say the government should be using more of a carrot approach to wind power rather than a stick.
If communities had been encouraged by government to really take seriously the triple crisis that we've got at the moment, then communities would actually have started, as some communities have, to develop their own technologies and to maintain them as well.
Both Labour and the Conservatives say they remain committed to wind energy as part of their climate change policies. But whoever forms the next government will face an increasingly vocal lobby, which believes the green revolution shouldn't be fought on their doorstep. Tim Iredale, BBC Look North.
Earlier, Maria McCaffrey, the Chief Executive of the British Wind Energy Association, told me why she thought that local councils are getting it wrong.
Well, perhaps it's because they're trying to be all things to all people. Local councillors have to do quite a balancing act. You know, there is a national statement of need, but there is the desires and the views of the local community, and they have to try and balance those.
But surely they know the area better than central government. Why should central government have the final say on these things?
Well, we have a national energy policy, and the local planning authorities have a duty to make sure that locally they are supporting the national policy. So I agree the local councillors will have a better feel for the local situation, but it doesn't absolve them from the need to make a contribution to the national situation.
But then these are being overturned, and you're saying this is why, you know, local councils getting it wrong. Doesn't it actually mean that communities don't want them, and the government needs to rethink its whole policy on wind?
Well, we think that the extent of the objection is actually exaggerated. The local councils are acting on the information that's coming through, but it's only those who are really negatively predisposed that express a view at all.
But many of them are being overturned.
That's right. Almost half of all the applications that go to appeal are actually found in favour at the end of the day, and the project is approved. So to leave, against that background, to leave the final say with the local authority would be disastrous for the wind energy community and leave us with no hope of achieving renewable energy targets.
Maria, thank you very much indeed. Let's go live to our political editor, Tim Iredale. Tim, there's been a big response on this one tonight. Why is this subject just so controversial and doesn't seem to want to go away?
Well, I think the worry in places like this is that the views of ordinary people simply aren't being heard at the highest level. Now, an awful lot of people have turned up to this public meeting here tonight in Spaldington. They're here to learn more about proposals for 2 new wind farms in the area. Now, a few moments ago, we had a helicopter flying above us here. It's disappeared now, probably gone to give you your lift home, Peter. But actually, it was flying at the height of the turbines, which is 415 feet, 125 metres in new money. Now, that's around 3 times the height of Howden Minster, which is just down the road from here. And that, to many local people here, is simply unacceptable. But wind power isn't going to go away. Ed Miliband told us here on Look North today that the government wants to ensure that 30% of our electricity is powered by wind by the year 2020. So whoever's in power, there could be some big battles with communities here in East Yorkshire and Lincolnshire, Peter.
Tim, thanks very much indeed. I look forward to the lift home. As I say, a big response on these. Paul, I'm sick and tired of hearing the middle class and middle-minded whinging on about not wanting wind farms on their doorsteps. They can put a wind farm in my garden, providing they make an allowance on my council tax. From Paul in Hull. Wind farms are saving energy, pollution, money and our planet, so people should just accept them. I would have one in my garden, so says Sarah in Bridlington. And finally, Hannah is 19. She says, we have 2 oil refineries and 3 gas power stations in North Lincolnshire. We would gladly swap them for wind turbines any day. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Good night.